All right, and yes, I did, Chrispy Galactic, thankfully, did press the on button this time of the live thing. Yeah, what I've been trying to do to try to jump myself ahead for the live streams is there's like two buttons or two instances to hit the live button, and I try to get it primed, and obviously didn't do it last week. Anyways, great to see everybody. There's a heck of a lot of people here. Chrispy Galactic, yeah, you were in earlier. And I thought because, oh, great, good to see you, Meandering Mike. Hope you're doing well. Well, let's run over, let's go through the people here super quick. So, yeah, great to see you, Tolemykus, Hissy Cat, kind of, while he's on, but listening, so I don't think he's going to be able to put in comments. Chrispy Galactic, you mentioned something about asking Hissy Cat about the Grapevine, if he's going down the Grapevine, if that's the North Cali Highway. I know that Charles Latora could probably answer that for you, and probably Meandering Mike as well, because they live around in that neck of the woods. Gamers with Coffee, great to see you. Hope you're doing well. Anyways, yeah, so I popped that stuff in at the very beginning there, that little comment stuff. It was kind of like, I think the inspiration actually was Tolemykus there a few weeks ago when I was mentioning that I saw an interesting quote that he popped. That he had in the Not J live show on Wednesday nights, and I thought, geez, I really like that quote. So I put it in, and then afterwards I was thinking, hey, wait a minute, maybe I can use the quote, the comment thing before a show actually starts. Hissy Cat says it's Highway 5, Chrispy Galactic. Anyways, I thought maybe this would be a good way to jog my memory about certain things that I often forget about talking about. And one of the things is that I like to keep a notepad with me with this book. This is like my travel book, that's why it's in pretty rough shape. And I'm just going to say this book is fantastic. Oh my gosh, is it ever a good read. But anyways, yeah, Chrispy Galactic, that quote there from the song, that beer drinking song or whatever, it's based, I guess, on some Assyrian king or something going, and he gets hammered at some bar or whatever, then forgets his money in Nineveh and whatnot. But yeah, I'm in that one of the anecdotes there in the book when they're just getting pelted by artillery fire, and they're just huddled, just hunkered down and just waiting for it to stop. And the author Ernst Younger mentions actually he is quoting in his head a book that he was reading, and Charles Latora says, hello, William. And look at, I actually wrote that down too, and hopefully we can go take a look at that later. But anyways, yeah, his sidekick is singing this drinking song, trying to keep his mind off the bombardment. He was thinking, like, you know, whatever floats your boat kind of thing. Anyways, okay, let's go. I'm going to present the screen so we can go quickly through what I would like to chit-chat about with you guys. And hopefully you guys will agree. I'm going to get rid of that. I don't need this that image thing, the jig anymore. Like I said, I'm going to present, and then we're going to start pretty quickly. Another thing I did, hopefully, is going to help. Yeah, I just wasn't last week. I just did not enjoy. I just don't think it was a very good show, and hopefully it's going to get better. I'm trying to scale back stuff to do. Try to put the important stuff at the beginning, and then if there's time to go to it rather than this mad rush. But we'll see how it goes. Anyways, here's what I'd like to go through. So you got here's the leaderboard. I think I'm doing it properly at this point in time. The Pinup Gal and Guy of the Week do have a couple this week. They didn't do any last week. Not going to be able to show the Pinup Guy until somebody gets the History Heroes. Or what am I in World War I today, because that's, well, I think that's just based on that image, so it's kind of like, and William Arends did thank you for bringing in some stuff. I just looked at it super quickly. But like I was mentioning to you, William Arends, before the show started, was that in lieu of just in case you weren't going to get me something, like I've said before too, I know you were like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm slacking off. That's what I've said. The only person here that has any obligation to do anything, everybody else can do whatever the heck they want. It's just me. It's our show, but I mean, I'm the only one that really needs to, do something kind of thing. But I love the way you think that way, because I'm always thinking that way as well with your stuff, William Arends, your material, because I'm like, gosh, I'm not giving it enough attention or whatever. So anyways, so when I assumed you were not going to be able to provide me any material this week, I was like, well, I'm going to go and grab part 2, which we didn't take a look at last week, and I popped it up anyways, and it's about the Social Democrats, which is something I want to start taking a look at. On a side note, thank you, Meandering Mike. I did pick it up. It did come in the post this week. The Fall of Paris, the Siege and Commune of 1870-71, and this is going to be all new to me. I just read the preface. Really, really good. This is the other book that came in here. I think I was mentioning that to you guys, Hague's Enemy, which I think is a really neat title for a book. I mean, what the heck? Crown Prince Rupert or something? Yes, Crown Prince Rupert. Anyways, yeah, I didn't even know there was a civil war in France after the Franco-Prussian War and all this stuff. So this is going to be interesting to find out about eventually, whenever I get to it. But it's neat also when he was saying that when he was writing the book, the Verdun book, Price of Glory. There, I think it's Price of Glory. He was saying that he was constantly reminding himself about the 1870-71 thing. Oh, great to see you, Mini WarMutt. I hope you're doing really good at super early in the morning. And Eric Goble, great to see you as well, man. And actually, you're on here because I wanted to. There's two people I wanted to talk about or find out what you guys are up to. Like if Brian R. Smith, you were mentioning that you were also asking Meandering Mike there last week whether or not the introductory, the Tannenberg introductory scenario was a good thing to get. Would it, have enough of the mechanisms in place so that way you can get a good feel for Weltkrieg. And also, Eric Goble, I'd like to know when you were mentioning a couple of weeks ago that you had picked up the rest of the Weltkrieg modules. I was curious, does that mean you also picked up the Grand Campaign as well? And I'd like to know, have you poked around and looked at the counters or anything like that? It'd be kind of neat to know. I do want to go very quickly to the Lone Warrior site. That was something I wanted to show you 2 weeks ago, for goodness sakes. And it's just all part of that thing of trying to find more World War I resources and whatnot. William Arends says, are you traveling on Interstate 5? How's the traffic? Also, the Consim World War I page, it's incredible. Holy moly, it's got a lot of material in there. And I just don't know if you guys know about it or not, so I want to bring it up. Also, that the Spotify, yet again, was saying that they're just piling on the episodes, the podcasts, and they're so far behind it is ridiculous. But super, super good podcasts. Remember, they were on YouTube. They still do an occasional video. They had one in this week, World War I related on their battle tour guide, or whatever the channel's called. I think I was mentioning that I did provide a link in it last week about, I think I found a YouTube video where it provides some audio of an actual artillery barrage, a creeping barrage. And it's because this book, yet again, he's constantly mentioning sounds, artillery sounds and whatnot. And I was like, geez, I really want to know, like obviously I'm not going to get the full on, but as close as I can. And I don't know if that is the case or not. Hissy Cat says, I left 4:30 this morning all the way up to the valley. There's almost no traffic now. I'm in the LA area and I'm getting spotty traffic. Also that if you want a 1-2-3 punch, I would say, to find out about that, which is interesting. I didn't realize until I started looking up the war summary after I watched these lectures and whatnot this week, that the war summary basically is all about Verdun this week. I was just like, holy smokes. Yet I watched, I've got the links there. So if you want to, I'm just going to say, I think I mentioned it last week as well, the Indian Idell Great War thing there on Verdun for week 88. Brian R. Smith says, I did in fact pick up the intro game. Decision has an April 20% off sale. Thank you, Brian R. Smith. I knew it was coming up. I wasn't too sure if it was right now. It's still a big expense to bring it to Canada. I know it's god-awful. Yeah, I don't want to tell you how much it cost me to get the whole set here. It was crazy. So anyway, that week 88, the 89 Dell, things like 9 minutes for goodness sakes. If you want a good in-depth thing about the like how all the forts are arranged around Verdun and whatnot, and why certain areas are really important, why the French like Avancourt Wood or something like that. I'm not, like I said, don't whatever. Find out later. You can go for yourself. But I can see it now, and we've been looking in, week in, week out with the war summary and all the stuff. They keep talking about these areas, and I'm like, okay, now it's starting to make a bit more sense. I will say this, and I've mentioned this before. Dr. Richard Faulkner, and it's on there, down the Bleeding of Nations. It's 53 minutes long. The guy is he's an outstanding historian. Okay, here's a little thing he mentions. I was like, no kidding. I can tell you one thing. If I was your son staring across from you, I would have ended up being an historian every day listening to you at the breakfast table. He's like, oh yeah, my daughter is also an historian sitting over there. I'm like, I'm no kidding. It was he's so engaging. He's just so amazing. And I'll just say this: for the 53 minutes, you want a complete Cole's Notes version of what in the world Verdun is all about. Go and watch that all darn thing. It's only 53 minutes. It's like that. I was amazing. And then the third one I watched was Dr. Paul Jankowski about the myths of Verdun. I was surprised how quick that went. I thought because he's not nowhere near as engaging as Dr. Richard Faulkner and whatnot. Oh God, he's good. He is just darn good, guys. But anyways, he brought up some interesting things. There's that book I was talking about, La Voiture de la Sierra. It's a book that Ernst Junger was thinking of during the Wicked Bombardment. And then the Black Whale Ascalon, that's that drinking song that was mentioned. And then the Canadian Expeditionary Force Study Group. It's part of the Western Front Association, but the Canadian bits. I went in this week just to poke around in, and my jaw dropped. Like the amount of resources available in there, and it's not just about Canadian stuff, I can tell you that much. It just knocked my socks off. It was incredible. Also, that there was an eclipse, a solar eclipse. I don't know if a lot of people know. In August, so just right after World War I started, there was a solar eclipse that went across parts of Europe, Eastern Europe, I believe, the path. And I just thought that was interesting, to the fact we're having one on Monday. And also, I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like I'm getting super deep or whatever, but like think about World War I. Just that it's just almost like that rare opportunity where we could have maybe altered us, in a way of thinking, like realizing that the industrial nature of warfare and whatnot, and the way we were just going to annihilate each other, and it could be the end of civilization, and so on and so forth. We had an opportunity maybe to go another way, and that didn't go. The PBS show about in Flanders Field that Dutch show is mentioning to you, it is fantastic. If you guys can find any access to that, I highly recommend it. I've watched 2.5 episodes. I actually was mentioning to Chrispy Galactic earlier in the week that I had to stop 4 minutes in for episode 3. It was just so jarring for me. It was just like, holy smokes, it's intense. It's really, really, really good. And like I said, it's about a family in Ghent trying to survive the occupation. It's pretty darn good. Also, the Paul Hederer interview update about how I'm going to hopefully go about this now that, and Meandering Mike sent me some great notes earlier in the week about how to think about approaching stuff, so that's going to help me out. Also, that I found a link about World War I historical fiction, and it's more about spy stuff and whatnot. I just thought that was really neat. Also, I'd like to make a quick shout out to Jezza1 and his Der Weltkrieg YouTube playlist, and the other stuff. Over 14 minutes. I haven't done a bloody thing. All right, so let's go to the banners, and I'll give you the very first clue, and hopefully that'll start getting things going, and then I can show you some other stuff. So the very first one is, although I've been around for hundreds of years. Hold on, I'm going to stop the screen now, and you can see that for a minute, and we're getting to the comments. Will Maris says, I wish I had also purchased the Verdun 1916 published by Combat Simulations and added it to the Noble Knight order I was able to get sent to. Oh, nice. Oh, you had not. You did not. I wish that I had. Okay. Yeah, I would like to get that as well. I've seen it available. I know they're not going through Blue Panther anymore, CSL, for that thing. So I'm wary. I want to get those thick, chunky counters if I was going to get the CSL for that thing. Man, it makes poison gas. Oh my God! What the hell am I thinking? He's already jumping the gun here and hopping in clues. No, but you're neat that you mentioned that poison gas. That it's been around for. Okay, so you're going to get a point, but you're canned food. Oh, cool, Tolemykus. I like that one. No, but you're wrong. And I'll put it. No, I didn't put it in the comments. Hold on. So I'm going to get rid of the narrative for a bit here, and make sure I've got everybody. Make sure you get it to the right spot. All right, so I'll put that in the comments so everybody can see that, and then we'll get on to the next clue in the banners. Georgina Broadwick, back in 1913, was the first woman to use me. Who or what am I? This will be interesting. See how quick people get it. I'll pop that in the comments. So there you go. So let's go to the first thing. So while people are doing that, I can go and present the screen and show you what I wanted to show you for a couple of weeks ago for the combat bra. Oh, I love it. Oh man, no. Obviously, I'm sure you probably know where it's getting. Oh, Chrispy Galactic says iodine. No, good one though. So here, let me show the window here. So there, yeah, I wanted you guys to see that. So hopefully I can bump it up a little bit. Oh my God, Brian R. Smith, well done. Parachute, that was a quickie. Yes, you got it. And Charles Latora says sulfa powder. I'm going to pump this up here, and then I'm going to get rid of the banner. Well, I'll put in the other banner so you guys can see me. So well done, Brian R. Smith. You're going to jump up again. You're getting awfully close to Meandering Mike there. So here's the next clue I was going to give you. I'm going to just check the thing. Yep, Brian has it. Boom. One version of me was called the Guardian Angel, and the next clue is going to be I'm credited with saving Hermann Goring's life. And the other one I was going to have was supposedly I was frowned upon for use by pilots, as the higher-ups thought I would make the soldiers cowardly. Supposedly, I'm not sure if it's a myth or not. Some people say it is a myth. There's no records of it in the British archives or whatever, where they said that British pilots were not allowed to use the. Oh yeah, what am I doing? You're not seeing the good stuff. Actually, you know what? I don't think you need to. I don't think I need to go so crazy. Hopefully, you guys can still see. I'll just make this giant size here. There we go. How wanted you guys to see this? This is, like I said, I popped it in the link, but it blew me away. This guy's made these nice little paper planes there. So here's the other one I was going to do. I was used extensively by artillery observers and observation balloons, and that's it. So I'm going to get rid of. Oh, and Hissy Cat says penicillin. Neat. There you go. All right. Yeah, I wanted you guys to see this. I just thought, well, also it's a great little. It does a nice little book review of this bit here. It was this one bit out here. The chapter which really took my interest, he says, Rob Morgan, is entitled Big Guns and Woodman Means It. The many attempts to load Luftwaffe planes with big anti-tank guns in World War II are usually well known, but in the First War, designers and tacticians were just as keen to blast any enemy out of the air with one big shot. So I wanted to let you guys see that. Got no good. We're there. So now let's get to the next bit, because I certainly want to talk a lot about get to the war summary and also William Arends' material. So hold on here. I can get rid of the parachute. I can go to this. I want to go to the cons. This is really good, guys. The Con-Sim World forum. Let me pop that in. I mean, I can maybe just pop this straight in, and you guys can be able to see it. I hope. Yes. And they've added some stuff here. I'll put this up a bit more. There we go. So this is, like I said, well, you can see here, it's the Consim World section for World War One, and they got all kinds of neato things. There's someone posted, and it's kind of, I just think it's kind of neat that here we are. Brian R. Smith says she was only 5 feet tall and 80 pounds, since her nickname was Tiny. Is that the Georgina person you're talking about? She also did. She was the very first person, Brian R. Smith, that I found out about when I was reading up on looking up some clues for the parachute. Was that she was also the very first person to free fall, man or woman. But there's some really neato things in here. I did see what? Oh my gosh! It's this Richthofen's War. So this person did some magnificent 3D painted. 3D printed stuff, but look at that. So he's, hopefully you guys can see that nicely. Get nice and, it's not that big, but at least you guys can see that. Yeah, so I wanted to, like I said, I just wanted to show you guys that there's an amazing resource here at the Consim thing. And there's that Wings for the Baron interview I keep mentioning over and over again. That was done by the Armchair Dragoons. It's really, really good interview. And this is one of these, well, for me, a holy grail game I certainly would like to get. Tolemykus says her bird bones didn't need to shoot, just glide home. Oh, it's amazing, though. I will say this too, Tolemykus. It's amazing about how big of a parachute like can really affect, like in weight, like how long you do stay up. So I wanted you guys, anyways, I just wanted you guys to see this bit. And hold on, I'll get on to the next. Yep, okay, so I did mention the Verdun, Bleeding the Nations. There, we're going to get that. It's not too bad, actually. Here, I'm going to show you this one quickly. Like I said, we got the links for the Verdun thing and whatnot, and it did mention, like, please, for the love of God, go there. So here's this thing I also found out, which I thought was kind of neat. Is World War I historical fiction. I found both of her books. She's got two, not this person, the person that's Sophie Schiller, I think. Both of her books are available on, I've seen a little bit. Both of her books are available on Amazon for like $13 or something. I've put them on my wish list. I can't afford them right now, but she does a little thing here talking about one of the books that she does. It's based along the Panama Canal and about the Germans wanting to bomb it and so on and so forth. But I thought, I like this kind of stuff, obviously. And actually, Zoe Dufour, you're into murder mysteries and whatnot. And I was thinking, maybe you'd want to take a look at this at some point. So here's some real German spies. Actually, this guy on the very left-hand side here ended up becoming a Hollywood actor afterwards. I thought that was kind of neat. All right, so I've done that bit. I think we're doing all right, considering Brian R. Smith. You nailed it so quick that we don't have to worry about getting into that here. And we'll stop the screen for a second because I want to show the pinup gal and guy, because now I can do that. All right, hold on here. I got to get into the universe. So, and I got to make sure not so. Get images to the window. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to present here, and then I'll pop her thing into the banners. So she looks like a pretty tough as nails person, I think you would agree. And there's your what the banner says: a young woman, munitions worker, with a tattoo on her left arm, bearing the name of her sweetheart who died at the front, and the memorial cross was added later. When I just saw it, I was thinking, man, I can tell you, she probably puts a little bit of extra spit and polish in every shell, doesn't she? Yowzers. Anyway, so then we're going to go to over here. I can just grab that guy. And now you're going to see why I couldn't show you the picture. It would have been a little bit too much of whatever. I'm going to hide that, and obviously I'm not going to do this. Hold on here. I will make them giant size. Try to. Oops. Display options. I just thought, for me, it was like it just looked really. Hold on here. I'm I just thought it was really an interesting looking getup. It was also the whole like the whole outfit that he had to wear. But yeah, I just thought you guys would want to take a look at that. All right, so we've done that bit. And I can get rid of that. And then we can go, we'll start off with the, how about, you know what, we'll go straight to the week. Why not? Okay, stop the screen, present the screen, share the screen. Here we go. Okay, I'll pop it back there. You guys can see that. All right, so yeah, we're not too bad. I think 25 minutes in. So and then we can start slinking our way into what happened this week and so on and so forth with the war summary and William Arends' material. Also, I'd like to mention that I tried it a little bit this morning. I'm not ready for it yet. But what I really want to start doing, especially when we get to this type of stuff, is I want to have kind of like I said, I was practicing a little bit with it today. I want to do like have a split screen and have like maybe at the top a map and at the bottom the text, so that way we can have a bit more things in context. Like, you know, okay, we know the Isonzo is in Italy, but I would like to see, you know, it kind of thing, or that type of stuff, or like the Vina River, where is that exactly? It's somewhere around Riga, but where exactly? That type of stuff. I just think it would help to put some things in, but I've got to practice to see if it works well. So anyways, here we go. And this is that place I was telling you about. If you were going to see it over and over again about the French and the Germans fighting over it in Verdun. I think it's Malancourt and whatnot. And Indian Idell, like I said, in his YouTube Week 88 show, goes over that quite well. And like I said, yet again, if you want to have a monstrously in-depth Cole's notes thing or whatever, please just go to the Richard Faulkner thing. I'll pop it in the sources and links. All right, French evacuate Malancourt at positions between Haucourt and Bethencourt. Zeppelin raid on east coast of England with 48 killed, 64 injured, and 1 Zeppelin destroyed. The British Army Council takes over hay and straw. I guess like the complete control of it. It's just interesting. I just thought it was an interesting way it was worded. Mr. Asquith is in Rome. Allied shipping losses. I'm not sure. That's why I put a question mark. I'm not sure. It just says shipping losses in the quote, but I'm not sure if that meant British shipping losses or full on. I don't know, because I don't understand 78,769 tons. I don't know if that's a big number or a little number for shipping stuff. Russians defeat the Ottomans at Kara-Malakan in Armenia on April 1st. Mr. Denis Kochin appointed minister in charge of blockade in France. The decline of unrest in Holland. King George presents a $100,000 loan, I guess, for war purposes or something, or gives his money away. I don't know. Germans capture part of Bow Village. Zeppelin raid on the northeast coast of England with 22 dead, 130 injured, and Zeppelin L-15 is captured. I will say this, and we're going to see it later on. Hopefully, you guys will see it as well. Pick up on it when we get to the war summary. There's a lot of angst by the Brits, and I think we've seen this week for the past few weeks. People getting called in about like a special council meeting or whatever on air defense and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's causing. You can say what you want, like they're the resolve, the British resolve, and so on and so forth. But it's obviously having an impact because they're getting on the saying to their politicians or whatever, do something about this. This is insane. So and we can hopefully see later on in the war summary bits where they compare their. I think it's almost like a slight nod where they go, and look at the way France responds when they get attacked. And I was thinking, I think this British guys are the war summary guys saying that. Gators a copy says Zeppelins used more than people think. Yes, I'm starting to kind of clue into this now, man. Germans repulsed in Lukavici region, powder explosion in Kent with 172 casualties. Mr. Asquith is received by the Pope. Resumption of work advised by Clyde Strike Committee. We'd seen this before, I think last week, when they were talking about the Clyde Strike, and this week now in the war summary, they mentioned it. I didn't, that the Clyde area or whatever, it's got something to do with the munitions thing, so it's a munitions factory or whatnot. So I thought it was about coal, actually, but obviously it's not. And you can probably see why that strike ended quickly, where the workers probably have a hell of a lot of power with something like that when they've got something they're making that's extremely valuable. Oh my God. And also, I hope to God we get to it for the war summary. Like I said, I try to put a lot of black dots in there for it so we can look at it quickly if I'm running out of time. Is the French are bringing in 5.5 foot tall. So there, you're talking about she was only 5 feet tall and 80 pounds, Brian R. Smith. This thing is 5.5 foot tall artillery shell, weighed half a ton. What the hell? I was just like, I just don't understand it. Like, it's just on another, it's just crazyville. April 3rd, British retirement at Alawad, Aden region. Bulgaria informs Greece that Bulgarian troops have been ordered to withdraw across the frontier. French reoccupy west part of Vaux village. German salient captured with British line advancing 600 yards at Saint-Éloi. Zeppelin raid on, should be Norfolk, with no damage or casualties reported. Greeks refuse overland route from Corfu, Salonika to for the Serbian army. I thought that was interesting. Germans repulsed at bridgehead at Upskul, Vina region. French 4th. Oh God, this is the one up there. Why I put the stars in there. French April 4th. French progress north of Bois de Calais. Calais, yes. Zeppelin raid on the east coast of England with reported dead and 9 injured. This one, General Brusilov succeeds General Ivanov in command of the Southern Front, and we know what's going to happen come May. The Brusilov offensive. That's going to be interesting to find out how that starts kicking in. British attack Lol Kasali or something in German East Africa. The British budget is introduced. The Clyde strike ends. Holland reaffirms their neutrality after a secret sitting of the Dutch chamber. April 5th, Germans occupy Harro. I think that's, like I said, this area, that it's, if they can get it, I think, we'll see in the war summary. Zeppelin raid on the northeast coast of England with 1 dead and 9 injured. British take El Hana and Falaia and positions on the right bank of the Tigris in Mesopotamia. Sir J. Nixon's Mesopotamian dispatch of January 1st is published. The Breslau aids the Ottomans near Trebizond. I thought that was neat too. The military medal is instituted in Britain. General Monroe, I think it's Monroe, not Monroe, becomes Minister of War. No, actually, no. It would be Moroni. That's right. That's what was getting me. Remember, the very first time I was thinking, I misspelling it, and I was like, no, it's Italy, not General Monroe. Meandering says, does he have Brusilov's sprouts in his garden this spring? Nice one. Jesus Christ, man. And it's so early for you. I don't know how the hell your brain ticks like that. It's such a, well, mind you keep weird hours. Clan Campbell torpedoed on the Mediterranean, a Scottish ship. Isn't that cool? I just think it's so neat that they call their ship like those types of ships like that. It was just like, wow. And okay, we're going to stop that one for now because I don't need this anymore. And then we're going to go to your William Arends translation from last week. Then we're going to go into the war summary. I think that's a good way to do it. And I've got to see if this, it does this weirdo thing. Oh, goody. You guys can't see. Okay, tell me if this is too small. And I'm not sure, William Arends, sometimes if, like, I think I italicized this bit thinking it was you that wrote it, but I'm not sure. And so I'm sorry if you didn't, but away we go. Okay, thank you, man, you're right. This paper, which was an organ dedicated to the part of the workers' movement that was traditionally socialist and more likely to be skeptical about the course of the war. On here. 18 representatives of the Social Democratic Party had broken with that organization and formed a new faction calling itself the Social Democratic Workers Association. The break occurred because these 18, led by Representative Haas, were opposed to the war declaration about the use of unrestricted U-boat activity. They now complain that their former colleagues in the SPD were being used by Bethmann Holding's government to state that members of this new faction were acting as foreign agents and thus were traitors to the fatherland. The leader of this new workers' faction, Haas, was shouted down in the Reichstag as he attempted to make a speech in opposition to the new U-boat declaration. I remember we were talking about this last week, just a little tiny bit, but I'm so glad William Arends are bringing it up in a much bigger light. An editorial to the readers of the Leipzig People's Paper. We will continue to be the voice of the working class and realistically report the events of this horrible war, despite having to work under the limitations of strict censorship. Translator's note. The above are short paraphrases of a much longer article and editorial, both of which tended to repeat their complaints about the state of politics in the Reichstag and the state of siege mentality that any member of the Reichstag opposed to the war cabinet or a paper trying to report on events under heavy censorship must endure. Dresden, latest news, an independent paper with the greatest circulation in Saxony. Oh man. 26th of March, 1916. The Kaiser thanks for the people's loan. Another 67 million marks were added to the war bond issue. And both sides right now, you can dance around it all you want. You were mentioning it, I think, last week as well, William Arends, in one of the comments, is both sides are spending a ton of money, are in tons of debt, and are trying to say to everybody, no, it's okay, but let's be honest. The Kaiser sent a telegram to the Minister of Finance, Helfrich. It is with great joy over your dispatch about the fourth war bond issue, that of which I speak, of the complete success of your participation, with the warmest thanks and best wishes. This issue will support the steadfastness in the will to victory and the unbroken power that reveals itself in the marvelous evidence of the courage of our heroes and the love of the fatherland that daily is worthily shown at the front by our soldiers. A people with such a spirit, who as one man stand together against the onslaught of our enemies, may confidently await their trust in God, must result in a victory that will fall into place. Translator note. The Kaiser can express his belief in the solidarity of his people and easily forget the minority actions and opinions already appearing, both in public and in press, despite all actions taken against them. We're going to stop. Well, I mean, not stop. I'm going to stop the screen. There we go. It's neat that you also mentioned that, William Arends, because when I was listening to or watching the lecture there, the Bleeding of Nations, he's talking about how later on, when Falkenhayn gets axed and Hindenburg and Ludendorff start taking on, they take over everything, all of the army, and they start even taking more of the taking over the economy and so on and so forth. It's just neat to. Hissy Cat says, bumper to bumper traffic now. Sorry about that. And hopefully this will keep you mellow listening to this. So there we go. Let's go to the war summary stuff. So like I said, I wanted to hopefully at some point get to where we can, I can have a split screen and we can look at a map and whatnot. I think that would be really nice because I want to, it's just, there's so many things. I'm just I don't know half the stuff. What's going on here? Was there anything else I did want to talk about before we wander off? I do mention, Charles says, where are you hung up, Hissy? I'm going to hide this. It's going to be a darn busy week, month actually for me. I've got six talks I'm going to be attending this month. I've got one on Monday. What the hell is that one going to be? Hold on here. I have a lot of them. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to obviously get some info out of it and be able to bring it back to you guys. On the 8th, I've got A House Divided, and that's with Jesse Alexander from the Western Front Association, and that's going to be on French Canada and the First World War, and obviously the divided loyalty and so on and so forth, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That's going to be right after work on Monday, so I'm going to be pretty. The biggie for me is going to be on the 11th of April. On the 9th of April, 1917, was the Battle of Vimy Ridge. Hissy Cat says, normally that's about my 45-hour mark from home, not today. It's just south of Commerce City. Anyways, so on the 11th of April, well, next Thursday evening at the Canadian War Museum, they're going to have a lecture on, it's going to be called The Battle of Vimy Ridge and Its Legacies. And an hour before the lecture, it's a members only, whatever, the 3 historians that are going to be there, it's going to be like a meet and greet thing. So I'm just like, oh, I'm going to lose my marbles. What else do I have? The 13th of from the World War I Historical Association, it's going to be World War I aviators, and then on the 14th from the Western Front Association, again I've got Salonika, surviving reminders of the campaign. Then on the 15th, I've got the British soldier is no Bolshevik, problems with demobilization. That'll be, I think that's got more to do with how the soldiers were treated when they got back to England and whatnot. There's a lot of brouhaha. And anyway, so we'll get into that. And then I think the last one is on the 29th, Le Moncel, Lance versus Lance, which I think is about a Bulgarian cavalry charge against some other whatever. So that's really, it was like a biggie. And of course, that's much later in the war. So like 1917 or something like that. So that's going to be pretty neat. Anyways, let's get to that. Get to this. So I got to ramp all that in. Oh yes, the Paul. I'm sure I want to mention this very quickly. So I'm going to be spending the remainder of whatever this week, or my main focus, I'd say this week and going into next, because I want to start getting a date ready for the Paul Hederer interview, the 1916 Prelude to Blitzkrieg. And so I want to get, that's going to be my main focus primarily. So we'll see how next week goes for the live stream. Maybe it'll be a Romania special. And you guys can help me out, get ready for our interview, basically. Be it. So anyways, here we go. You guys can see this. And like I said, I'll try to read the first few little bits and then go to the black dots. And I'm hoping that the black dots are going to be things I can expand upon a little bit more and go from there. And like I said, this is like a Verdun. It's constant. German is wasting their strength recklessly at Verdun. The French Midnight Report tells of a violent attack accompanied by jets of blazing liquid. Oh my gosh. On the side, I keep forgetting to mention this anecdote, and it's in The Price of Glory. There's a French soldier that on the very first day of the artillery barrage, I think we were mentioning this before, it was so intense that even Wesley Livesay mentioned that essentially it was raining metal for hours on end in that tiny little area. Charles Latora says, check Google Maps, looks like a crash. Hopefully maybe that's why you're having a horrible time, Hissy Cat. Anyways, this French soldier makes this anecdote. He's watching the artillery barrage by the Germans from a hill. And he says, essentially, from his point of view, it looked like the Germans had taken a giant garden hose and were just spraying, going back and forth every 15 minutes along the same part of the line for hours on end. He says it was that intense. And I was just like, holy cow, just nuts. Oh, and on a third side note, anecdote, whatever, because it was just so impactful, and it's from this book. When they're retreating, well, he calls it the Siegfried line, and they've been ordered to just destroy everything. So as they're going through the French towns and leaving, just wipe out everything. And the guy says it was like a scene in an insane asylum in hell. He says it like seeing soldiers walking by with dresses because they were coming out of shops, swinging a sledgehammer, destroying houses and so on and so forth, and fire was going all over the place, and just crazy stuff. And it's just like things I don't normally I would not know about, in the war or whatever. And I don't hear about those things, so it was kind of neat. Anyways, let's get going. These futile assaults cost the Germans heavy losses. The Russian authorities are well satisfied with the results of the partial offensive they have been conducting along the Vina River during the past 2 weeks. I remember that's up near Riga area. Evidence had been obtained that the Germans along the Vina were preparing for attacks on both Vinsk and Riga as soon as weather conditions permitted. William Arends says, the email I sent you this morning contained reports about the debate in the Reichstag on the war measure resolution and the indivision of the SPD on the formation of the SPD Workers Association. Thank you, William Arends. I hope to God, if I'm smart enough, we'll get a little bit into it. Okay, let's get to number 2. Oh gosh, 2, Charles Latora. I was freaked out when I found, I saw one of the little black dots that popped on. I went, oh my God, you gotta be joking. The struggle along the Isonzo at the Gritsa bridgehead has become continuous and increasingly desperate. As to the progress of the opposing armies, there's hopeless contradiction in the Italian and Austrian official statements. The people of Salonika are in, oh, that's it, here's the black, thank God, I said, why, Chris, you gotta look for these black dots. The ingenuity used on both sides in the concealment of gun positions is spoken of in terms of admiration by military observers. Many cannon are hidden in rock chambers where both gun and gunners are safe from anything except a direct hit from the front. It is quite possible that Cadorna may change his tactics in the spring and try to reach Trieste by a combined land and sea movement along the coast, leaving Gritsa massed by an army located on the Carso Plateau. Oh yeah, I missed that. That's the second time I've missed that black dot. When I was going over it earlier, I was like, jeepers jumping. The people of Salonika are infuriated over the German aeroplane attacks on the civilian population. The German aviators could be taking risks, bomb the camps of the Allies and their stores, which are for the most part piled up outside of the city. The heavy losses of Allied shipping, this was a dandy. I did not know, if you guys knew about this freaks me out. And yet again, I think it'd be another thing for a cool thing for RPG stuff. The heavy losses of Allied shipping in the Eastern Mediterranean have induced the naval patrols to redouble their efforts to discover the secret sources of the oil supply, without which the enemy's submarines could not keep the sea. A dispatch from Rome states that 4 hostile submarine bases have been discovered among the Greek islands. The discovery of these secret bases should lessen submarine activity for a time. Oh, that just sounds so cool. And I was just like, yeah. A curious story has reached London in explanation of the visit of Ferdinand of Bulgaria to Coburg, where he is taking the rest here. The Kaiser is so suspicious of Foxy Ferdinand. Oh, I just thought that was so cool. And so afraid that he'll make a separate peace with the Allies that he is doing everything possible to prevent his return to Sofia. Spring, with its longer hours of daylight and absence of snow and fog, has resulted in a remarkable increase of airplane activity. The Allies are making much the better of the aerial engagements. I will say this quickly, which I thought was kind of neat. I think maybe one of the first times we're starting to see a bit more of, remember, I think it was Panthershadow that mentioned it a few weeks ago, and he was like, isn't it neat that they're always using machine instead of airplane? And then Meandering Mike went and looked it up and said it's more of a general term for aerial whatevers. And then we saw this. Gamers and Caucuses have to go. Great show, sir. Watching your nails, patch on the web, and everyone. And as well as you, great to see you, man. Is that now you can see in this little paragraph they're using airplanes and machines intermixing, which I thought was kind of neat. On the Caucasus front, the Russians are still uniformly successful, although the Turks are seeking their best troops in Asia Minor. And we saw this earlier on in one of the headlines this week, where they were saying that Gallipoli veterans were being sent off to the Caucasus. The value to the enemy of the village of Malancourt, captured after an all-night struggle, ought not to be underestimated. In their operations on the west side of the Meuse, the Germans have been greatly hampered by the lack of roads over which their heavy artillery can be hauled. Hissy Cat is passing the accident now. It appears there might be a fatality. From the German base at Montfaucon, in the vicinity of which their guns must be held awaiting a forward movement, there is no road south, save that running through Malancourt, until the west bank of the Meuse is reached, 5 miles away. Possession of Malancourt and its roads enables the Germans to place heavy artillery in the woods of Malancourt and Avancourt, and to drive forward against the French position at Bethencourt, which becomes almost untenable as a result of the German win at Malancourt. And anyways, all week, that's what I was looking at in the headlines. Remember, I see it, one of the headlines during the week, I only pick 4. And, I'm like, I just can't, I'm trying to find different stuff as well. I don't want to just keep hammering home on the same stuff. And they just kept talking about this over and over again. I was like, geez, this is really important. A front including Malancourt, Beaucourt, Bethencourt, and Fourche, all of which save Bethencourt, are now in the hands of the Germans, which would give them 5 roads leading in the general direction of Verdun, and would greatly increase the danger points to be guarded by the French. The defense of Malancourt village was entrusted by the French to a single battalion, which withstood the German assaults all night, but it eventually fell, but they were like, thank you. It's amazing what you did. The midnight French report states that in the Malancourt region, the artillery fire is slackened, and that the enemy made no attempt during the day to debouch from the village. I don't know what that word is. I've never seen that before. But we've been seeing interesting words because I guess it's over 100 years ago they were using some words more common than we did, and so on and so forth. So there's another one I'd like to see, find out about. Paris report notes that south of the Somme, after artillery preparation, the Germans yesterday attempted a series of sudden attacks on the French advanced posts in the region of Dompierre, all of which were repulsed. And the reason why I have a little black dot here is that the British do hold the entire front north of the Somme. And I think we were talking about this earlier on, is that going in 1916 and whatnot, the French were basically saying, for the love of God, man, you guys have to start pulling your weight a bit more here, taking more of the line. And Douglas Haig, I guess the new guy and whatnot, were saying, whoa, hold on here. We were still waiting for the Kitchener's troops to be fully trained up. But I mean, a lot of them are starting to pop in now. But it's push is coming to shove. And I think, when we get into the Battle of the Somme later on, I think it was one of those areas where the Brits were like, oh my God, we don't want to freaking attack from here. But it's still early days for me. That's all I know. Anyways, let's get on here. A general of the Franco-British Army is reported by the Associated Press at Athens as stating his belief that Salonika is absolutely impregnable. The admission of the British Munitions Department that greatly needed heavy guns are not being turned out in the Clyde district in the required numbers because of labor troubles has a counterpart in the statement of Talcott Williams in the American Review of Reviews for April. Great to see you, Hextax. I hope you're having a wonderful day, man. And it is, I'm glad to see you, man. The full extent of the damage done by the 5 Zeppelins which raided the eastern counties of England last night will not be known for a day or so. The London papers are held very strictly to account for the reports of the results of the Zeppelin raids. I hope to God I did put a black dot for the one where I was saying that in the war summary, they're like, and see how the French respond when they get punched in the nose with aerial bombardment. They send out like 40 planes, there's like 37 or something, but still, like, you're like, and yet again, this ramping up of air stuff. It's incredible. Germany steadfastly pursues her policy of frightfulness in the air. Last night, according to an official report, the coast of Scotland and the northern and northeastern counties of England were attacked by Zeppelins. Everybody says, morning to you, Hex to Hex. Commander, I can't say his name. The chief officer of the Zeppelin brought down. Oh God! I missed another black dot. It was that's it, Charles Latora. This is the one I freaked out when I saw this one because you had mentioned, hey, I want to find out about that New Zealander, and then we found out that the guy is Lieutenant Brandon. Alfred Brandon, is that his first name? Of the Royal Flying Corps. That was the very first person to take down a Zeppelin. I think he ends up taking 2 in his career, which is pretty cool. Anyways, and here he's just talking about, I don't want to get into it because I have a problem with, remember, I know it's Anglo-centric, but they go on and on and on about, how horrible these Zeppelin raids are, killing innocent, women and children. And I'm like, what about the blockade, man? Starving people to submission. That's considered okay? Anyways, another battle for the possession of Verdun began on Friday night and was continued during Saturday and Sunday in the region between Fort Douaumont and Fort Goble. Between the 2 forts which stand up commanding ridges lies a small valley in which is situated the Valley of Vaux. To the west of this village is a wooded ravine from which the Germans, once securely posted there, could launch flank attacks on the French positions on the ridge of Douaumont and upon Fort Duvaux. That's hustle. Where are we? 6, yeah. Let's look for the black dots. On Sunday, the struggle was resumed. On the other parts of the Western Front, there's little of importance to record. Here it is. The French aviators maintain their activity. No, that's not it. But you can see where they're attacking. The railway station at Étain and other German positions on the east and north of the city were heavily bombarded. They try to, obviously not allow them to bring their stuff in. The promise is made in a dispatch from Paris that the activity of German submarines in the Channel will shortly be brought to an end. Essentially, they were just saying because of wintertime and whatnot, it caused a lot of disruption with the nets and so on and so forth. So the Germans were allowed to zip around right now, but that's going to get fixed come spring. In northern Russia, the spring inundations have begun and are causing the combatants much trouble. Yeah, I think we were mentioning that last week and the week before that everything was turned into a swamp. And why in the world are the Russians going mental with the offensive up in Riga? Because they're trying to get the best positions before everything did turn into a swamp. The view of Colonel Feiler, Swiss officers, one of Europe's greatest military cities, is that the German staff will not end the Verdun action until it has exhausted all its resources for gaining what may pass for success in Germany. I just brought this up quickly because, as we know, the Verdun battle is not going to go either way for anyone really, especially for Falkenhayn and his idea of what to do. But what it was that the lecture there, the myths of Verdun. He was saying that Falkenhayn believed that with the breaking of Verdun or whatever, it would open up a position of movement again, and that the British were inexperienced in that type of warfare, and that the French were exhausted, and that's why they would be able to win. So I thought that was kind of neat. Also, about that lecture quickly before we zip off into Wonderland, is that it was neat that he mentions that both sides bring up big historical motifs. I don't know anything about Moloch, the god of child sacrifice, but the Germans brought that up to say, look what the French are doing. And then on the flip side, the French were using the Battle of Thermopylae to say that, look at us, this is us. Anyways, let's go quickly. Yeah, jeepers jumping. Okay, because I think there was a couple of really nice little black dots. That's it. The French respond without undue delay to any Zeppelin attacks on their cities. Why don't the British do that? By way of reprisals for their bombardment of Dunkirk on Sunday night, a squadron of 31 Allied airplanes soared out early on Monday morning over the German containment, at various points in Belgium and dropped 83 shells. It is interesting to note that the Canadians, I brought this up not because I'm Canadian, but it's just because it was neat that I think it's one of the few first times I've seen an instance of the other side mentioning that they were having issues with a particular a particular force. Yep, down to seconds. Down to seconds. All right. It's a glorious day right now. It's so beautiful. Oh, I will say this with the Papa Joffre thing there, and there's a lot of infighting going on with the generals and whatnot with France. It's just amazing. With General Serret there down in the Balkans. Holy smokes! Any more little quickie little black dots? Like I said, this week I'll focus on getting ready for the Paul Hetterer Romania 1916 Prelude to Blitzkrieg thing. That's it. The 5.5 foot high shells. What in the living hell? Oh my God, it's over a ton. I thought it was half a ton. Jesus Christ, I don't even understand that. You understand? Oh, and this is the other thing. This is a Patanism. You understand? We don't sacrifice our soldiers needlessly, we French. It was our machine guns and our 75s that we used against the German masses, not our men. That is a very specific Patan type of thing that he likes to do. And also on a side note, I know we're at noon here, we got to get going. Oh, the supply of silver bullets will not fail. William Arends, there's your thing about money, money, money. Look at this. They're just saying as long as we can keep printing money or borrowing money, we're good. I don't think I did anything for number 12. There's a black dot. What's that? Fact that General Townsend's beleaguered troops remain in their trenches at Kut El Amara while strenuous efforts to reach and resume them are in progress indicates that either foodstuffs or munitions are lacking, perhaps both. And we know that's going to happen. They're going to end up surrendering. Remember, we were talking about that last week there with the Indian troops, some of them refusing to eat the horses and so on and so forth. I just thought this was neat. All is quiet along the Meuse because of, obviously all is quiet along the Western Front. I think that's it. I didn't have a black dot for number 12. Except that Italy is bringing in, fiddling with the age limits or whatever about how to bring in people. These are about 30 divisions. Yeah, darn it. This is another thing about trying to figure out, convert this into stacking, into Weltkrieg and whatnot. 30 divisions around about that. I'd like to figure that out. And then France's new ideas for conserving your military strength. Yeah, bringing in women and doing all kinds of different things. And then about the Zeppelin L-15. That's it. We're going to stop the stream because we're there. We're 2 minutes after. Thank you so much, guys. I think this was a half decent show. Please let me know if you thought it was. Like I said, I'll spend a week, or at least the focus, preparing for 1916 Prelude Blitzkrieg. Do you have any, yet again, if you have any questions you'd like to pose or whatever, or some ideas of how you think it should go about, please do. It's our show, it's our interview, it's our opportunity. I think it's going to be great. Great to see you guys all, and I hope you have a great week. That's it. Eric Goble. Don't forget, I didn't hear your answer about whether or not you picked up the Grand Campaign. I'd like to know if you had a good poke around with all the things. I'd love to know. That's it. Yes, it is for me as well, Brian R. Smith. It is a wicked, well-spent hour. Okay, thanks, guys. See you later. I'm off to the shops. I'm going to eat and then off to the shops. Bye.